But I don't know. Maybe it shouldn't have happened because apparently the Sony CFO doesn't think they have enough IPs, which is the other talking point that I've got for the whole Sony thing, which that's a baffling comment to me. Like, you got a graveyard of dead IPs. Like, Sony arguably has more IPs than Nintendo. And Nintendo has a shit ton of IPs. Like, Sony has so many in the graveyard. And I understand, like, well, some of them being in the graveyard because they weren't, like, huge commercial successes. But it's like, at this point, like, dude, you got a massive graveyard of them, of things that people would love to see come back. Like, dude, bring something back. Well, you know, give it a shot.
The other side of that is, like, part of the reason those are, like, now dead IPs is they stopped selling.
Yeah.
It's like they stopped selling or they just didn't have any new ideas for them. Mm-hmm. So it's like, while you could look at it and go, yeah, just try to bring some of these dead games back to life, make a new one, or just make it again or something like that. It's like, well, people are gonna remember the names of some of these and look back at the last one that came out and go, maybe they shouldn't do that.
That's fair. That's fair. I will say from like the single player experience, I mean, with how well like Astrobot was received and just any of these single player narrative games, I would like to think a couple of the notables they have in the graveyard could maybe have a chance to come back. But then I think about like Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart and how it was a success in terms of reviews, but apparently in terms of sales, it like barely hit the line. You know, so it's like, you know, I know a lot of people always like to immediately say, make another Jack and Daxter, right?
Yeah.
Been a while for that one. I think the last one was what, the combat racing?
Yep.
Yeah, it was combat. No, there was a PSP one, wasn't there?
That was a
Daxter game. Yeah, so there's Jack 1, 2, 3, there's Daxter, there's the Jack X Race, and I think there's a PS Vita or a PSP one too.
There was a PSP. I don't remember which one's Daxter.
I mean, I knew there was
Jack and
two. I knew there was two Dexter games. I was just thinking the second Dexter game came out before the racing one.
Yeah. The Daxter game did come out before the racing one because I just looked at the timeline of these games recently. I want to say there was another game that came out on the PSP.
Oh, there was because I had it.
Yeah, there was two Dexter games.
Okay.
I don't know if they were new games or if they were just ported.
Okay, gotcha. You know, I know a lot of people like to immediately say like try to give Jack and Daxter another chance, give Sly Cooper another chance, but then Sly Cooper 4 apparently wasn't a huge success in terms of the finances.
Well, that's part of it is like, yeah, people remember these games fondly, but a lot of times if a new one is made, it's just like a lot of the gaming space is different now. Mm-hmm. It's like those games don't hold up as well, even if they're brought into modern times. Mm-hmm. Or it's like, at least gameplay wise, they may not hold up as well.
Right.
So that's kind of why I'm like, I'm usually more interested in like new IPs coming out or reinventions of the franchises than just going back to the well and going, oh, we're gonna do this again. We're gonna take this, bring it into modern, like up to modern graphics and everything, and just make another game similar to what we did before. Because I don't think that works anymore for the most part. I mean, the only people really doing that anymore are Nintendo, but the people are gonna always buy Nintendo games.
Yeah, no,
it's like those franchise people know they're not changing too much.
Yeah,
right. No, it's just it was a baffling comment to me saying that we don't have many IPs. It's like, bro, what do you mean? You got a massive graveyard. Like, if you want a games as a service game, like, why not take another shot at like a Resistance or a Killzone or something?
And you may just be meaning in terms of IPs that they find marketable.
And that's a good point too. But you know, I feel like some IPs like Jack or Sly could have a chance, you know, especially with the reception of like an Astrobot, you know, like I feel like we're getting more into that era of like we want, like gamers are going to be playing that versus playing a hero shooter.
Well, the success of Astrobot in particular, I think is because it is a reinvention of kind of the standard like platform game.
Yeah.
That also, like, I mean, because it's Astrobot, with all the callbacks, with all like notable like franchise stuff that they've been known for showing off. Mm-hmm. It's like that's part of the charm of the game, and also it is something new. It is something a little different. And it's like that's part of the charm of it. It's not, we're going to take these things that you all remember fondly and just try to, like, nostalgia bait you again.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. Like I said, some of these franchises that aren't around anymore, like these IPs, they're not around. Like you mentioned Killzone. That, and it's like that. There's a reason that didn't stay around or they stopped making it. It's just because nobody played them. Mm-hmm. It's like it might have been back in the time where before kind of Sony took over the gaming market, but also people didn't go back to it. People haven't been excited about it, and that's how some of these franchises are. It's like, especially like you mentioned, like a Jack and Daxter and stuff like that. Yeah, there's always going to be people calling for a new one, but it's not. I mean, it's not loud enough for them to consider it, really. Or maybe they are considering it. Right. There may be a new one on the way for all we know.
Yeah,
but at the same time, like we keep seeing some of these franchises come back, and it's like, yeah, they do relatively well, but is it worth the investment on that or trying to come up with something different? Because, I mean, for all we've said about Concord, how much that game failed, at least they did something new.
Right.
Granted, they put it on a hero shooter skin.
But hey, a new IP.
Oh, man. New IP, though. I mean, shot to that, I guess. They tried to get something new. And one of the biggest disasters in gaming history.
It just proves nostalgia sells more.
That's true. That's true. Especially with what John said about like Astrobot and just the whole vibe around it where it has all these callbacks. Like it has callbacks from first party stuff to third party stuff. Like I saw Joker and Teddy's in it. So shout out to that. Okami's in it. That's a cool callback. Haven't seen that since, Okami since what, the remaster that came on the Switch. Other than that, that's been a silent one. Pretty much almost any PlayStation IP, except for like there's apparently nothing Final Fantasy in the game, so that's interesting, and no Spider-Man in the game either. Also interesting. But other than that, it's like callbacks galore. There's a whole level based around where you basically get to play as Kratos and throw the axe and shit.
All
so
right.
That's cool. Like that's a huge like PlayStation just fan trip basically. Like if you're a diehard PlayStation fan, you're gonna probably love Astrobot.
Like that's the level of nostalgia that I think needs to be aimed at these days.
Yeah, that's fair.
Where it's
fair.
Make a fun, cool experience that also ties into those nostalgia aspects of it.
All Stars 2.
Just allows you to get moments like, hey, I know those people.
Yeah, exactly. I'm telling you, All Stars 2. Although they missed the window on that. But who knows? Maybe they could take a crack at it again. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I would love to see it. I enjoyed the first one. It wasn't the perfect,
Bring back Fat Princess.
Bring back what?
Fat Princess.
What are you talking about?
You don't know this game?
I know what you're talking about.
I
It
have
was
no, what are you talking
PS3.
about?
It was PS3 IP
Oh, okay.
by Sony called Fat Princess.
What is it?
It's not necessarily a tower defense. It's more of you create units to go forward on a field to take out your enemies and take their castle, and the whole time they're protecting their fat princess and getting her more cake and other food to make her bigger.
What the fuck? Well, that one might be in the graveyard for a reason.
It got a single game in the PS3 era.
That might be in that IP graveyard for a reason.
Oh yeah, it probably is.
What the fuck? Okay.